In a part of Africa where cattle used to roam, herders are increasingly relying on a different type of animal. And after successive years of drought, it's bringing a surprising number of benefits to northern Kenya. 10 years ago, a Kenyan county launched a program to deliver camels to families in the region. Multiple droughts have killed numerous cattle and oxen here, but the camels can go more than a week without water. They can graze on dry grass. AFP News says they can produce as much as 6 times the milk of cows, and they can do that even in the dry season. One village official says children are healthier because of that, and a livestock seller says camels are highly valuable. These animals don't cross borders in search of grass like cattle do, so there's reportedly less conflict among neighbors. Camels do need some water, so people continue to pray for rain, and they are prone to diseases that can cause a lot of problems. But in a place where the skies have been clear and dry, camels are bringing buckets of relief. Is the United States preparing for military intervention in Nigeria, and why would it? That's next today on The World from A to Z. I'm Carl Azuz. Thank you for watching. This week, U.S. President Donald Trump posted that America would stop all aid to Nigeria and may take military action against terrorists there if, quote, the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians. What's this about? First, Nigeria has struggled with terrorism for years. Boko Haram and Islamic State, 2 terrorist groups, operate in the African country. And a non-profit civil rights group named Inter-Society, which is based in Nigeria, says more than 14,000 Christians have been killed or kidnapped there between last December and this October. The group also says thousands of Muslims have been killed, and a Nigerian government official says the terrorists are known to kill Muslims and Christians. About 53% of Nigerians are Muslims and 46% are Christians. Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says religious freedom and tolerance are crucial to his country, that it opposes religious persecution, and that it protects citizens of all faiths. However, his government also said it would welcome American help in fighting terrorists as long as Nigeria's territorial integrity is recognized. We don't know exactly what that would mean. We also don't know what kind of military action the U.S. would take, though Nigeria says it hopes their 2 leaders could iron out their differences.
Is it constitutional?
The U.S. Constitution set the Tuesday after the first Monday in November as Election Day. True or false? This is false. The word Tuesday doesn't appear in the Constitution. Congress passed a law in 1845 that set the date for U.S. elections. That makes today Election Day in America. And while it's not a presidential or midterm election for members of the U.S. Congress, it is when a number of state and local elections are being held. New Jersey and Virginia are choosing new governors. New York's electing a new mayor. California and Texas have closely watched issues on the ballot. Still, voter turnout in off-year elections like this one is significantly lower than during presidential ones.
Where in the world? This is a South American nation whose capital city was founded by a Spanish conquistador in 1541. It achieved its independence from Spain in 1810. It's now a presidential republic that's also the longest nation when measured from north to south. This is Chile, a Spanish-speaking country of more than 18 million people.
Rice is one of, if not the most widely consumed food on Earth, and the average person in Chile eats 22 pounds of it each year. But how do you keep it growing amid an ongoing drought?
Rice plants typically thrive in tropical conditions, but a new strain developed by scientists in Chile is showing promise for rice that could be grown in the nation's colder, drier conditions too. Nearly half of all Chile's rice is grown domestically, and a majority of that rice is grown in flooded fields. The flooding method requires hundreds of gallons of water, and it's used around the world to combat weeds and to regulate the temperature of vulnerable seedlings. But Chile has a problem. It's been facing a mega drought for the last 15 years. So, one farmer, Javier Munoz, has been testing out the Haspe strain, a Chilean seed crossed with a Russian one that's better suited to cold and dry climates. The The seedlings are spaced further apart in enriched soil and watered only sporadically to build a more resilient root system. By using haspe and irrigation instead of flooding, the Munoz family has been able to use much less water, and the amount they've harvested has rocketed, each seed yielding about 30 plants. That's nearly 10 times more than a conventional rice field. Haspe has also shown to be more resistant to other natural pressures, such as storms, floods, and heat waves. The strain has been in the works for nearly 20 years, and though other scientists have yet to sign off on it in a peer-reviewed scientific journal, Chile's government has approved the use of the new strain. Scientists now hope to test haspe in other South American countries, and they plan to in Brazil soon, the largest producer of rice in the region. The new approach to growing rice could possibly work in other countries around the world that also struggle with drought.
Because it's a cross between Chilean and Russian rice, haspe is considered a hybrid strain, and hybrids do have downsides. For one thing, farmers have to buy the seeds, which can be expensive, and experts say they have to keep buying because if they plant the seeds from the previous growing season, they won't grow as well. There will be a smaller crop. Also, in parts of Asia, hybrid rice has shown it's not as resistant to diseases or pests as traditional strains, and some who previously grew hybrid rice have gone back to regular varieties.
On this date in world history.
November 4th, 1922, a British archaeologist named Howard Carter was leading a team of workmen on a dig in Egypt's Valley of the Kings. This was the date they found something significant, a step in the sand. It would eventually lead them to the incredibly well-preserved burial room of Egyptian King Tut, also known as King Tut, who did not have a condo made of stone. November 4th in 1979 was when a group of Iranian college students seized control of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took more than 50 Americans as hostages. It was the beginning of the Iranian hostage crisis, an act tied to that nation's revolution and its deteriorating relationship with the United States. The hostages were held for 444 days before their release. The rivalry between Iran and the United States, which involves several other international issues, continues today.
World knowledge. Which of these layers or zones of the ocean is the deepest? Mesopelagic, bathypelagic, abyssopelagic, hadopelagic. These are in order from shallowest to deepest, with the hadopelagic zone extending to the trenches at more than 36,000 feet.
But the squid you'll hear about next was photographed in the bathypelagic zone, which extends from 3,300 to more than 13,000 feet under the surface of the sea.
Check out this surreal undersea scene off the coast of Uruguay. Using a remotely operated vehicle, scientists at the Schmidt Ocean Institute found massive reef complexes teeming with life. Researchers say they discovered at least 30 potential new species of aquatic life while exploring the cold water coral, capturing a cacophony of weird and wonderful images, such as this black belly rosefish playing peekaboo, a deep-sea cat shark, this vibrant squid more than 1,400 meters below the surface, and take a look at this bonus find. The team documenting the wreckage of the former USS Barron. The destroyer, commissioned in 1943, saw heavy action during World War II, then transferred to Uruguay by the U.S. in 1952 and scuttled in 1995 during a naval exercise, and it's been at the bottom of the ocean ever since.
We're putting the North in North America today, starting in the city of Rice Lake, Wisconsin. That's the home of the Warriors at Rice Lake High School, where Mrs. Kazikowicz's class is watching. From Mercer International Middle School, where the Mustangs roam, hello to Miss Megan's class. Great to see y'all in Seattle, Washington. And in the Canadian province of Quebec, we welcome Miss LeBlanc's class. The Blazers are with us from Howard S. Billings Regional High School. The penny farthing, a type of bicycle dating back to the 1870s, was the original big wheel, and a group of enthusiasts are keeping the tall, iconic, and somewhat dangerous ride alive in the capital of the Czech Republic. They didn't skimp on the sweet barrel organ music, love this song, Anyway, the Czech Velocipedist Club says it recalls a bicycling tradition that started here more than 155 years ago. They also say it was successful because no one fell. No velocipedestrians were harmed by the wheel deal that had everyone sitting tall in the saddle while peddling history in a bespoke event in which all participants are well biked and too tired. I'm Carl Azuz, offering a penny farthing thoughts on the world from A to Z, and you mean the world to me.